right, welcome to the brief overview of Snowglobe here. So I'm still going to walk you through how to do the flourish, but this is going to be a much more condensed version than the detailed tutorial. All right, so we're going to start off with straddle grip and break off into a Z grip here. The left thumb is going to come around as you push off with your right index to slide that top card over. It's going to connect with your thumb, and then you can rotate between the thumb and middle. The bottom packet is going to open up for a scissor cut as you continue to rotate. As you rotate, before you place that bottom packet down, make sure you hit this alignment here so that all three packets are aligned. It just looks nicer for the performance. Then you can drop that down, and your right ring finger is going to clip that single card. So then as you close the bottom scissor cut, you're going to flip this card over your thumb. You can let go, and your left thumb will now attach to the bottom of that single card, and that pins it to this top packet as you flip everything over. You're then going to push out again with your index and extend another card. Your middle finger here, okay, so the middle finger will then pinch these two cards together. All right, so I am now pinching those two cards with my middle and thumb. And then I'm going to, with sort of this middle finger here, going to begin this rotation while keeping that card pinched all the way over like this. And then as you get to this point, that packet, that single card slides up in between your middle and ring finger there. So this rotates around, and you can clip it like so, and you pull it out here. You rotate your hand and place that onto your thumb. You then readjust this grip so that it is gripped like so. And then you're going to rotate your left hand out as you extend out. Then you're going to push with your right hand, you're going to push this other single card slightly down. Okay, so it looks like here. And then you're going to sort of swipe back and rotate your hand back up. And as you rotate your hand back up, you'll notice this King of Spades right here. I just let that remain stable and then move on to the back of my wrist. Okay, then you can close here, and you're going to slide that King of Spades forward, up and over your index. You're going to bring it onto the deck here, and you're going to maintain contact with your ring finger and that packet. You're going to slide it past here, and then you're going to do the same thing as you did earlier. You're going to clip that with your ring and middle, rotate over the thumb just like before. Again, extend with the index to push out a packet. And when you get into this, when you extend and clip that packet with your middle finger, make sure that it's out jogged slightly. It just looks nicer when you do this rotation. Okay, so you'll be here, so you'll extend, rotate again, and then when you get to about this angle, what you're going to do is release your thumb, and you're going to place that packet down on top while continuing the rotation, and you're going to lift that card up on top there. All right, so let's do that just slowly here. So I'm going to break off, get that alignment, rotate, that's slightly out jogged. Maintain the contact with your ring and repeat the same motion as earlier. About there, place the packet on, and then you're going to close like so. And that's Snowglobe. Welcome to the detailed tutorial and overview of Snowglobe. So I'm going to give you some tips alongside the regular tutorial, such as packet size and timing of the move, and just some general ways you can prove how the move looks to others and improve the performance of the move. So let's jump right into it. We're going to start off with the grip for this move, the starting grip for this move, and that's going to be a straddle grip. So looks like this. Not too much different from a dealer's grip, but essentially how you would get into that is you move your pinky around to the back here. And then if you grip the deck between your index and pinky, that kind of allows you to prop the deck up like so. So as you can see, I have this space here between the deck and my palm. And that's just mostly because the deck is gripped between this index and pinky. And then I can just kind of rest my other 3 fingers alongside the edge of the deck. So this is your starting grip, a straddle grip here. Right, so the break off then is going to be into a Z grip, right? Something like that. So you have roughly 3 even packets or so. If you want to break this down into 2 parts, you could break it down into your thumb is going to lift off about 2/3 of the deck. And then your index finger, or a combination of your index and ring, whatever suits you, is going to lift off 1/3 as well. So then you have your 3/3 roughly of your Z grip there. And for this move, it does help if these 3 packets are roughly even, just with how the move works. You're pretty much going to be using these 3 the entire movement. You'll have some single cards that come off as well, but if you start off with just 3 roughly even packets, you should be in good shape. So the first movement after breaking off is going to be bringing your thumb around to the back here. Easy enough. And while that's happening, you're going to apply pressure onto this top packet, or this top card even, in the top left corner. So what I'm doing is I'm sliding out with my finger, applying pressure to the top packet. And what that does is it pushes the card out like that. So you're sort of swinging it around your index finger here, your middle finger here. But if you isolate the right hand here, that's essentially what I'm doing. Just a little bit, not too much. You're basically looking for it to break the thumb there, because the thumb will be pressed up against it. So as long as you can kind of break that free, it'll just help with the overall momentum of the opener, right? So like that. So that's essentially where you get to. And then your next moment is going to be this rotation of that single card. So along your thumb here, you've connected your thumb to that single packet. Again, you're not connecting it to this entire deck, or sorry, this entire packet. You're connecting it just to this single card, and it's rotating along this middle finger here. And so this movement is going to happen all the way until, as you can see here, the single card and the packet align here. Okay, so you're going to break off, and you're going to swing that all the way around. And I'm kind of moving my hand to the right a little bit as I do this as well. That just makes the bottom motion a little bit easier. So let's isolate this bottom motion here. It's more or less the scissor cut. So as I mentioned, a scissor cut you could consider as a prerequisite to doing Snowglobe. Scissor cut essentially looks like that. Okay, and that is more or less what you're doing on your left hand. So we're in about this position here, and then if we isolate that left hand here, you're just continuing this motion and placing it down. So these motions happen simultaneously. So let's do this again. All together, we have the rotation, and then we have the scissor cut along the bottom. And then you can drop that in there. As a tip for when you're performing this, it looks best when you have all 3 packets align. What I mean by that is, as you rotate, there, you have this alignment of all 3 packets in a straight line, sort of there. If you don't do this, let's say in the next motion, you're going to flip over like that, right? So let's say you don't align those packets and you go to flip over. That's what you're looking at. It's not utilizing the full range of the move. If you extend all those packets to align, you're increasing the range of this move and the amount of space that it takes up within your hands, and it just overall comes across as a little more impressive. So I would say wait to drop this packet until there, you get that alignment. And that's something that just kind of comes with practice, but as you practice the move and as you get better and more smooth, that's something that you can keep in mind to improve your performance of it. All right, so let's get into the next steps here. So we're about here in the move. And now as you align this single card with the other packet here, your ring finger is going to go on top and it's actually going to clip this packet. So I have this now clipped. Sorry, I keep calling it a packet. It's going to clip this single card on top. So as you can kind of see, it's clipped between the top of my middle finger there and the bottom of my ring finger. And that's because you are going to flip this card over your thumb like so. Okay? So in isolation, it's going to come up and you're going to flip it over like so. Clip and flip over like that. And when you get to about this point, so when the single card packet is face up, but you still have the top packet face down, you can let go with your ring finger while applying pressure of your thumb up and catching that card against that top packet, like so. So as I flip it over, there. So I'm doing that at the same time that I let go with my ring finger. And after you catch that single card, you can then turn your wrist palm up, and this will rotate this whole single packet, top packet combination over your thumb, like so. And you'll get into this position here. All right, so all together, that you're gonna drop that packet on the bottom, and you can go ahead and close that up. And then you clip as you release with your index, and you're gonna flip it over like so. All right, so now you're in this position. And then we'll stick that out. So now we have this. Now we have this double single card packet combination. You are then going to grip both of the single cards with your middle finger here. So this middle finger is going to press up and grip the cards like so. Okay? A pointer to improve how this move looks at this point, you want to have this bottom card out jogged slightly. Okay? Because we're going to go into a rotation next where this is going to rotate around. And if you clip the packets and the 2 cards are even and you rotate it around, first, it's a little more difficult to rotate around. Also, it doesn't flare out as much. So this is how it looks if they start off even, right? But if they start off slightly out jogged, you get this much bigger loop and this much bigger circle, and the face of the card is much more exposed of that single card right there. So as you flip it over, try to catch them with this out jog. So let's do it again. We'll do the full move. Okay. And there you go. So I catch that and I have that bottom card slightly out jogged. Now, what you're going to do, we're going to rotate this card around like so. So I'm using both my index to rotate the card around, and then I am doing this rotation here. And when you get to about this point, you can then grip, sort of the same grip we had earlier between your ring and middle finger, and you can grip and finish that rotation. Let's put all that together. Up. And there you go. That's that full rotation then of that king of diamonds coming around. And at this point you're just rotating, but then when you finish this rotation, you are then going to pull the card slightly out. Okay, so at this point I'm just rotating, and then this point I pull it out, so now it's not attached to my middle finger anymore. And you're just going to turn your palm face down, place this single card onto the sort of meat of your thumb right here, and you can place your ring and pinky on top of it like so. And you are now in this position, set up for the flair of the move. So we'll do that one more time. Okay, pull it out and rotate and just place it down on your thumb like that. Now I'm going to break apart the two hands here again. I think it's just a little easier to see what's going on. So we'll start with our right hand. So what we just stripped this card out and placed it on top. You are going to rotate your hand and therefore rotate the card that's on your thumb like so. And then it's going to slide down to sort of the bottom of your wrist here. So you're kind of sliding it down to the bottom of your wrist. And then if you open your palm up, you're in this position where if you were to slide the card all the way forward and up, kind of follow your index, it will land back on top of the deck. Okay? So from here again, you're going to rotate, slide it down your wrist a little bit, and then you're going to follow the back of your hand up over your index and onto the deck. Okay, so that's the general flair that I do with my right hand. And then with the left hand here, you're in this position, right? So okay, you end up in this position right here. The deck, or the single card, was gripped between your middle here and your thumb. But what you want to do now is you want to replace your middle finger under here with your ring, and that allows your middle and pinky to then go on top. And this gives you this grip here where you can flare out that single card. Right? So now in this position, it's essentially all you're going to do is just extend it and bring it back in, but you're going to add a little wrist motion into it, right? So very simply, you're going to rotate your wrist as you extend the card. So if you combine that, you kind of get this. So at the peak extension, your palm is face down, and then you're going to reverse that and bring it back in. So very simply, without much flair, that's just what you're doing. This is where a bit of the interpretation of the move comes in with this whole flair sequence, is that I add a bit of this flare wing motion to it, kind of like I'm swiping something in the air. I don't really know how to describe it, but I add a little something to it. If you combine these, right, the extend and the rotate, that happens at the same time. Something interesting happens where as you extend your left hand out and as you extend that single card out, it sort of naturally rotates the hand, and you naturally rotates your right hand as well. Okay, so you end up with your palm face up in your right hand and your palm face down in your left hand. Right? We'll start here, sort of flare out, and then I just let the Queen of Clubs sit there as I rotate my hand back. And then now you get into this position where you can just follow your index up onto the top of the packet, like so. And essentially, that is the flare. Again, like I mentioned, this is just kind of how I do the flare. Like that. I'll just do it a few times so you get an idea of how it looks in slow motion here. But it's certainly up to interpretation. I have messed around with it myself. I have tried different movements, different motions. I've added cards here and there. Overall, certainly open to interpretation wherever you want to take it. But again, that's just kind of how I do that point of the move. Okay. Like so. And at this point in the move, that's actually most of the mechanics you have to do, or you have to know to perform the move. Because what happens next is, I'll just generally overview it here, but what happens next is you're going to do this movement again. So this flip, right? We've seen that already. Flipping over the thumb, gripping that with the thumb. Then this extension and this entire motion again up until about here, which is just the closer there, is all taken from earlier in the move. There's a bit of background to this. This was where I was struggling a bit in the flourish, where I got to here and I didn't quite know what to do at this point. You can close it, right? You can just drop it on. It's a bit short and it's not a incredible closer really. But I kind of wanted something more. So often what you can do and what looks nice for moves if you're stuck is you can repeat a theme that comes up earlier in your flourish. So I decided I'm in this position whereby if you keep your ring finger, so as you finish the flare, maintain contact with your ring finger, and you're going to, you can get to the point where it squares up, and then you're going to keep sliding past to about halfway point, right? So you finish your flare, that ring finger is connected, and you're going to keep sliding. I see when people perform the move, a lot of times I'll see that they'll kind of bring it up and they'll break contact with their ring finger. If you want to have a clean transition into that second part, see if I can get a clean transition here. If you want to have a clean transition, you're going to keep that ring finger connected. But so you do that, keep it connected, and you're going to slide past, and then you're going to grip this packet, this single card, sorry, with the ring finger like you did earlier. Push it forward over your thumb. Again, this is everything just taken from earlier in the move. You get to this point, you're gonna extend again with your index on that single packet, pushes that out, and you can grip it then with your middle finger along the bottom there. Remember to get that slight out jog, and then you can begin the rotation of this packet around. What we're going to be doing here is essentially putting this packet down, continuing this rotation slightly, and lifting that card up onto the deck. So it's pretty simple, but I can go over a couple tips here to make this ending look smooth, because there is a way to make this ending look really nice and where it ends really clean. So I'll just start from here. This is all the same as earlier. Grip with your middle, and you get to here. Now when you get to this point, I usually put this packet onto the deck when it's about at this angle, sticking off over here. So that allows me some extra rotation once I place it down to bring up onto the deck. Now, when I'm doing that, there's a couple subtle things I'm doing with my fingers to make sure it's a clean place down of the packet. I'm actually releasing my thumb, so for a brief period of time, this single packet actually doesn't have a lot of connection onto it. Okay, like that. So it's just a moment that there's no connection there, like that. And what I'm also doing is I'm extending my pinky and my ring finger of my bottom hand here. And what that does is it allows for when I place this packet down, I can just easily put these two fingers up onto the deck, and all I have to do is finish the twist here and bring it up on top. And that prevents me from finishing that, placing on top, and then fumbling around a little bit. And then the final piece to getting a smooth ending here is I actually leave, let's see here, I leave my middle finger, I leave it in the deck here so that my fingernail of my middle finger is still connected to this single card. And that allows for me to keep rotating this packet, right? Because if I close the whole, if I don't leave my middle finger in there and I try to finish this rotation, it's gonna take other cards with it, right? So you want a clean rotation, so you leave your middle finger in there. And then as this card rotates, it's rotating between mainly your middle finger there, and not moving any other packets with it. Okay, and then once it becomes aligned, once you get the rotation aligned with the rest of the deck, you can then release your middle finger and put it on top, and then finish it like so. So a clean ending, like so. That wasn't that clean. Let's see if I can do it a little better. Something like that, right? Okay. Like that. And if you'll notice, I keep the rotation of the packet moving as I throw, I almost throw the packet down. I keep the rotation moving of this card. So if I don't keep the rotation moving, there's this awkward pause that I have to do. And it's just, it's subtle, but it kind of breaks up the niceness of the closer. If you're able to keep that rotation happening as you kind of throw that packet down, it's still something I'm even working on, right? And then I try to make sure that I hit this alignment and then I bring it straight up and over. So I'm not like rotating around or bringing it up at like an angle or anything. If you can get that clean alignment and bring it straight up and over, that will give you a nice finish to the move. Okay, so that was the detailed tutorial. That was pretty long, but hopefully worth it. I hope you guys got something out of it, and let me know if there's anything that you have questions about still. I'd be happy to answer any of those in the comments. But hopefully you got something out of this detailed overview, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.